Congratulations, you're now living in a dystopia. I know what you're thinking. Great, here comes 20 minutes of jaded social commentary. No, wrong channel. This is not a whine about the world channel. This is a writing channel. So let's reframe that existential despair into something productive, shall we? But yes, you are living in a dystopia. But guess what? You've got imagination, and with it, you can dream up dystopias that are far worse than the one you're stuck in. And why would you do that? Well, because dystopias are the perfect playground for storytelling. They're primal, they're provocative, and they shine a spotlight on everything we fear most about society, humanity, and ourselves. Think about it. Dystopian fiction lets you crank up the volume on societal trends, throw your characters into impossible situations, and watch as they struggle, adapt, or collapse under the weight of it all. It's storytelling turned up to 11. And that's what we're diving into today. A whirlwind tour of the many flavors of dystopia, how they've shaped literature, or at least some examples of them in literature, and how you can use them to build compelling, unforgettable worlds for your stories. So buckle up, let's get dystopian. Welcome to The Edge, where I explore writing, world building, and how to enhance your creativity. If that sounds like your thing, you're in the right place, so be sure to subscribe for more. So first off, we have totalitarian or authoritarian dystopias. Big Brother is watching, and he's got receipts. This is the classic dystopia. It's the first thing that pops into your head when someone says dystopia. You know the vibe: oppressive governments, mind control, and enough propaganda to make you question if anything is even real. This is the dystopia that's been keeping people awake since the mid-20th century, fueled by the rise of communist regimes that took control freak to a whole new level. These are dystopias where governments run the show. Like a really bad reality TV producer, micromanaging every detail of your life, your thoughts, your speech, your actions. Got an independent idea? Don't worry, they'll fix that for you. The hallmarks of this flavor include relentless surveillance, a narrative carefully spun together, an external enemy to focus people's attention on, not to mention distracting them from the wrongs and flaws of their own leaders, and consequences so severe you'd think twice about even thinking out of line. Some classic examples include 1984 by George Orwell. This is the OG totalitarian nightmare you read in high school, where you're constantly reminded Big Brother is watching you. And I kind of wonder, how long is it going to be before this classic of literature gets banned in US schools? Then there's The Hunger Games by Suzanne, where an oppressive regime takes a reality show twist by making children fight to the death. And that's another one that kind of grimly reminds me of US schools. All right, well, this is a little uncomfortable. But if you, as a writer, want to cook up a totalitarian dystopia for your next story, be sure to include a box of constant surveillance, a dollop of propaganda, because no dystopia is complete without a daily dose of brainwashing, a spoonful of punishment for nonconformity, thinking outside the box. That's a box we'll put you in, and a heaping scoop of freedom deprivation, because free will is totally overrated. Sounds terrifying, right? Good thing it's fiction. Or is it? Let me ask you, when was the last time you spotted a camera? Was it driving to work, during a quick stop at the bank, maybe outside your kid's school when you picked them up, or walking by your neighbor's house, ringing someone's doorbell, or maybe just picking up your phone? Don't worry, it's probably nothing. Just a little extra security to keep us safe. Definitely not being used by any nefarious government agencies to monitor us 24/7, because they'd never do that, right? Okay, but that's just one flavor of dystopia, and there are so many more to choose from. Let's talk about another one. you have corporate-controlled dystopias. Welcome to the company town, Population U. Now imagine a world where corporations are bigger than governments, where CEOs have more power than presidents. I know, that's totally ridiculous. That could never happen in real life, right? There is no way the owner of a bank, a media company, or an electric car manufacturer would ever have the power to buy an election, dictate judicial decisions, or conquer other planets like Mars. Well, buckle up, because corporate-controlled dystopias let us explore this concept to posit a world where profit reigns supreme, where human rights are an afterthought and you're not a citizen, you're a consumer, working as a wage slave and desperately pretending that you're free and have control over your own life while you doom scroll through 15-second videos for hours at a time to remind you that you're powerless and you have to go to the job you hate because otherwise you'll be on the streets and then you'll be left to die and no one will even know that you're gone. Okay, well, let's not go too much further down that rabbit hole. This is the ultimate endgame of unchecked capitalism, where the line between company policy and the law has vanished faster than your medical benefits and vacation days. These kind of dystopias are the bread and butter of cyberpunk, that beloved genre where neon's always flickering, the tech is cool, but terrifying, and you're probably working for a corporation that owns your soul and your health insurance. Nothing at all like real life. Classic examples of this can be found in Blade Runner by Philip K. Dick, also a great science fiction movie starring Harrison Ford. This is a world where corporations don't just own the tech, they own the people and even make their own in the form of Nexus 6 replicants, humanoid slaves used to colonize distant worlds. What could possibly go wrong? Then there's Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson, where the American dream has been replaced by franchises and everything from governance to garbage collection is up for sale. Oh, the 90s. It was such an innocent time. But if you want to build a corporate dystopia for your next story, consider these key elements. Economic inequity. The rich live in skyscrapers that pierce the dense layers of smog and pollution and reach for the clouds. The poor, well, they live wherever there's room to put them, I guess. And mostly they live in the filth and decay, far below the gleaming towers and the elegant gardens enjoyed by the rich. There's manipulative advertising, ads so invasive, not only do they know everything about you, your family, your friends, your tastes, but sometimes they will literally follow you home. And these ads have been tailored to manipulate you into spending every last credit, dollar, euro, or whatever you use for money. Privatize everything in this world. Water, air, sidewalks. If it exists, someone has a monopoly on it and there is a subscription fee. And you've got to include advanced but oppressive technology. Things that are cutting edge but also cut corners, like privacy, freedom, safety. But don't worry, any back alley doctor can set you up with cyber eyes that will digitally filter out all the horrors around you, so your characters can be very happy in this world. Now let's explore what happens when dystopias take a sharp turn to the next nightmare. And don't worry, it only gets worse from here. Now, if you've made it this far, remember, Big Brother is watching. So like, subscribe, leave a comment. That's how YouTube knows you got something out of this video, and it really helps the channel. So let's get on to the next dystopia. Social or cultural dystopias. This is when the call is coming from inside the house. Authoritarian regimes are terrifying. Corporate takeovers of society, that's pretty bad. Almost worse even, but at least your friends, your neighbors, your church, they will have your back, right? They'll still respect your freedom, your individual thoughts and ideas, and they'll leave you to live your life in peace, no matter what the government or the mega corporations are doing, right? They're the people who support you. They'd never fuck it up and make it evil, would they? All right, who are we kidding? In a social or cultural dystopia, it's not the government or the corporations controlling you. It's the people around you. It turns out the real dystopia was your Uncle Albert and all of his stupid conspiracy theories all along. These dystopias explore how deeply ingrained cultural norms, prejudices, and hierarchies can be weaponized to oppress individuals. It's a world where conformity is enforced with the kind of vigor usually reserved for boarding school headmistresses and those stripedy wonks who referee pro football. And in a world where conformity and compliance are king, being different makes you public enemy number one. Books you know in this category include Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, another classic you likely read in high school, where society achieves stability by turning individuality into a punishable offense, or The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This is also a show on one of the streaming services. There are so many now, I can't really tell them apart, so I don't remember which one. But this is a world where a theocratic nightmare makes sure everyone, especially women, know their place in society. And spoiler alert, it's not a good place. But luckily, we live in a society where a woman's freedoms and bodily autonomy are protected by the very fabric and foundation of our laws and our cultural norms. What? I think my editor is trying to tell me something. What? No, it's completely protected. Of course women have rights and bodily autonomy. What are you? Say that? Oh, fuck. Yes, I'm in a closet. Don't worry about the skeleton. He's fine. He's here of his own free will. But you know what? It's quiet. It's contained. It's safe. This is my safe place. This is where I can get away from everything except that goddamn cat. But you know, I'm thinking what we need to do right now is don't write more dystopias. Things are bleak enough. We don't need to explore these nightmares in fiction anymore. We did that, and instead of people saying, wow, that's terrible, we need to do everything in our power to avoid that because it would be so bad. Instead of that, most people were just apathetic and said, what are you worried about, bro? What are you complaining about, bro? And they just put their heads in the sand and ignored it, while a remarkably vocal group of our dumbest citizens somehow gained enough power to make this a reality. They said, yeah, give me some of that. It's scary out there, and I don't know what to do. So I need somebody powerful to think for me, to tell me what to do, because I'm scared and I'm weak and I'm stupid. And somehow these fucking idiots got in control, let corporations take over the government. I never thought I would see this in my lifetime. It's crazy. So, don't write a dystopia. Write a utopia. Write something hopeful. Write something that shows how amazing our world would be if we stopped letting the dumbest, lowest common denominator losers decide our futures. Imagine what would happen if we let the smart people, the educated people, the wise people, the visionaries, the idealists, imagine if we let them pave the path forward instead of the dum-dums. Can you imagine that world? How amazing the entire world would be. Peace, prosperity, fairness, equality, a government that works, companies that actually help people instead of just stealing money. Can you imagine what we could do with that? Okay. Fuck it. Let's finish this no matter how depressing it is. If you want to write a social dystopia, you need to conform to these literary norms. Enforce social conformity. Be exactly like everyone else or face the consequences, which may include exile, imprisonment, non-consensual smecks, or worse. Have there be a rigid class or caste system. Know your rank, stay in your lane, and don't even think about moving up. Marginalization or worse. If you don't fit the mold, society will make you invisible. Or they might even disappear you. And make the culture obsessed with strangely specific values, whether it's perfection, stability, tradition. One idea that rules them all, that governs all of society, and it's not up for debate. So this could never happen, right? Well, let's be real. This kind of dystopia might hit a little too close to home. A society where religion, ideology, or cultural norms infiltrate every aspect of life, where dissenters are silenced and neighbors happily turn each other in? No, that can never happen. People are way too decent for that. Humans have an excellent track record of respecting privacy and basic human rights. But please, don't fact check that. I don't want you looking at history or social media or the comments section. You just need to trust me on this, okay? People are great. People are good. You can trust people. They'll never do you wrong. But hey, even if this kind of dystopia feels eerily plausible, it makes for some incredible storytelling. The personal stakes, the moral dilemmas, the betrayals. This is dramatic gold. So if you're building a dystopia, why not let your characters battle the worst impulses of their own communities? After all, the scariest villains are often the people who live next door. Depressed yet? Me too. My original list had 10, yes, 10 flavors of dystopias. They were a little redundant, they overlapped quite a bit, but just covering the first 3 has been a little much for me. Here are the other 7 in case you're interested. You'll notice they overlap a bit with the first set. Maybe I'll cover them in a future video. As always, let me know what you think in the comments. But we have apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic dystopias, economic or class-based dystopias, environmental dystopias, technological dystopias, religious or theocratic dystopias, medical or biological dystopias, and existential or psychological dystopias. It's quite a list, isn't it? What we need more than more stories about dystopias and dread and torture and manipulation and betrayal. What we really need now are stories of hope and optimism. Is the world ready for your light? I mean, dystopias are fun to write. They used to be fun to read. Bleak worlds where characters struggle and suffer. I mean, this makes for good drama, right? But let's be real. We've all had more than enough of that, haven't we? The world doesn't need more doom scroll fuel. It needs hope. So what we need right now are stories that dare to dream of something better. Stories that inspire, that light a spark of optimism, that say, hey, the future doesn't need to be terrible. We can fix this. We need stories that show the power of hope, that show us that tomorrow can be brighter, that people can change, and that our lives and the lives of those we love will improve. Stories that remind us we're not powerless against adversity. We have the strength to push through and come out stronger. The world is desperate for writers brave enough to craft tales of triumph, resilience, progress, Writers who marvel at the wonders humanity has achieved, who highlight the beauty of collaboration, empathy, and sheer determination. Stories that celebrate the grand and noble aspects of human nature, of the human spirit. The kind of stories that we used to read that would inspire us to make the world a better place. And that's where you come in. You have the wisdom, creativity, and power to turn this around. Through your words, you can show what's possible. So get out there and share your light. Whether it's with your stories, your kindness, or just a smile to a stranger, you can make the world a better place. You can do it today.